So a new study shows that millennials say it's inappropriate to have a work wife, but that most Gen Zers, who are under age 25, by the way, and boomers, who are 60 and up, are fine with it. More specifically, this is in Business Insider. Gen Zers and millennials disagree on whether it's appropriate to have a work spouse, a poll has found. More than half of millennials disapprove of such relationships, per Newsweek's study. However, fewer than half of Gen Zers and boomers think having a work spouse is inappropriate. Fewer than half, meaning most think it's fine. So, I'm I, the idea of whether or not it's fine is kind of funny because it's kind of moot, right? There's no way around it. If you're in the working world is made up of men and women, and you are going to be in an environment with the opposite sex, which that has its own, that could have its own uh, reasonable debate or conversation about that. I think Jordan Peterson was getting into that once with a guy that was really funny, about whether or not men and women are meant to work together. And I think that's a fascinating, albeit provocative conversation that I would love to be part of. I'm not afraid of that. I think it's actually a really good question. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to say. I wanted to talk about this idea of having a work spouse as we know it today, which is that men and women work together. And chances are your husband or wife has had a lot of contact with a specific individual that he or she spends a lot of time with. I don't know about the difference between the generations on this. I don't have a real handle on why it would be more millennials. Except, well, I sort of do. I I see more millennials than any other age group, and they are really, really, really struggling, in my opinion, and really lost on male-female relations. I mean, across the board, just across the board, they have so many interesting ideas about how they think things should work, and that is just not based in reality. So maybe this is an example of that. I mean, it's not about whether or not you're okay with it. Your spouse is going to have that in his or her life. The question is this: it's not about that other person at work that matters. It's about what's going on in your relationship at home. That's the only thing you need to be concerned with. And I'm going to give you a great example, which is why I wanted to jump on here and respond to this study. Many of you know that I've been married 2 times. I've been married to my current husband and only husband and last husband, Bill, for 25 years this May. Before that, I was married from age 23 to 27, no kids. In each marriage, my husband, so weird to talk about it in this way, had what I guess you'd call a work spouse. I mean, it's such a strange and weird phrase. I never used it. I never thought about it that way. But as I think about them, yeah, there was a person in each one, in the life of each one at work, one of whom was definitely a problem for me. In looking back at it now, it caused major fights. And then the other one was obviously my current marriage. And there, not only has there never been a thought or a concern, but I really like her. And never in a million years have I considered her in any way a threat. The reason for that is because my marriage, the first time around, was going very, very south, had already begun going south by the time this person that he was spending a lot of time with, he was commuting back and forth with her. We lived really close to them and going out with her after work. They never got together, to the best of my knowledge. I don't think that happened. Actually, she was married too at the time. But I'm like 99% sure nothing happened. But the issue was that I felt deep down, really wanted to be married to someone like her. That's And that was a reflection on what was happening between the two of us, that, um, the lifestyles we did not agree on lifestyles, and the kind of lives we wanted to live, both geography-wise and work and family-wise. So this gal didn't do anything wrong, she just represented the other person that I believed at the time he would like to be married to. So nothing happened, like I said, but it was a definite sore spot, and it caused conflict because of the problems I was having in that marriage. Fast forward, my husband Bill is no longer working with this gal I'm talking about, although they're still friendly. But for a long time, they had to connect a lot for work, and I, I am not exaggerating when I say never once has it ever been an issue. And so that's ultimately where the focus should be when you read something like this and you say it says millennials say it's inappropriate to have a work wife. That's really not the right way of looking at it, which is what I guess Gen Zers and boomers, I don't know where we Xers fall in, we're always getting forgotten about. um, that we know that millennials don't get is that if you're concerned about a work spouse, all you need to do is look at your own marriage. That's it. You don't need to worry about that other person. She or he is irrelevant to the conversation. If you are nervous about it or worried about it, turn inward. Find out what's going on. End of story. It has nothing to do whether or not it's appropriate or inappropriate. Which um which isn't to say that there aren't behaviors that would be considered inappropriate with a work spouse. Of course there are, but again, that person's likely doing that because of what's going on at home. You could take it so far as Mike Pence took it. Remember that whole thing with Mike Pence when he was vice president and he would never put himself in a position of being alone with a woman who wasn't his wife when he was at work, sitting, having dinner or any kind, just whatever, any occasion where he'd be alone with her. I thought that was great. I mean, I don't go that far. We don't go that far, but I respect it and I get it and it makes perfect sense. There's no question that the more you are around the opposite sex on a daily basis, that that is going to create temptation when your life at home is not going well. I mean, let's be honest, it's just not. But the idea of spending a lot of time with one person, all I'm saying is that your focus, if you're nervous about that or worried about that, should not be on that person. That's all I'm saying. Just hone in on the marriage. And if you are putting most of your energy there and you're staying on top of it, that's where you're going to resolve whatever insecurities you have about that. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say about that. You can find that at businessinsider.com. Again, it's millennials say it's inappropriate to have a work wife, but most Gen Zers and boomers are cool with it. Poll finds. Okay. See you next time.